to stutter. In fact, I was painfully shy as a little girl. It was school that saved me. I had to speak, apparently, in order to make friends, and I love making friends. School was also where I learned to dream big. In fact, my freshman year in high school, I went to an assembly where the speaker literally changed the course of my life. He said, less than 1% of the world sets goals. So if you set goals, you'll be 99% ahead of the rest of the world. That was it. I decided I was going to be a goal slayer. Goal number 1, I was going to move the heck out of freezing cold Philadelphia someday. Goal number 2 is when I did it, I was so thankful I was going to come back to my high school and give back. It was easy to learn to give back because one day a teacher came up to me in high school and invited me, the stutterer, to audition to anchor the morning news. Imagine my fear. I was literally shaking, but I went for it anyway. And then when I looked into the camera, I didn't stutter, and I got the gig. And the best part is my stutter never came back. And even more amazing, I found my career. I looked into the camera and I thought, people get paid to do this? I want to be a journalist and lift people's spirits and tell amazing stories and share their shine. So that's exactly what I set out to do. Unfortunately, going to college was a really hard stretch for me. Thankfully, I fought for that too. As a goal slayer, I interned in more places than any student in my high school in history. I actually got a scholarship from CBS News and my high school, and thank goodness from my college. Off to New York I went because I researched it. That's TV market number 1. Great place to learn. I also learned when they brought in speakers that I was an inspirational story junkie. I also noticed that it was important, actually critical, to speak your dreams as often as possible, wherever possible. So, in my summer job, when I worked 70 hours a week putting myself through school, my friend Nicole knew my dream, and we were checking people into a hotel, and she said, listen to me, you've got to switch lanes. So we did, and as I was checking in Rob Wallace, I read, to my delight, that he was a producer at ABC News. So I said, Mr. Wallace, I have an internship set up in the public relations division next semester. Do you think I'll enjoy it? And he looked at my name tag and he said, well, Meredith, what do you want to do when you graduate from college? To which I said what I always say, retire legendary newscaster Barbara Walters or Oprah Winfrey, whichever came up first. He grinned ear to ear and pulled his business card out of his pocket and said, well then, you won't be needing that public relations internship. I'm Barbara Walters' producer. You need to intern with me. I couldn't believe it. Speaking your dreams and sharing them with everybody possible unlocked amazing opportunities for me. Not only did I get to work with my hero, but I was invited to be the only person in the United States to work on Barbara Walters' special. And she invited me to work on Barbara Walters' The View. The best part is my part-time job in college was working for ABC News. Before I graduated, I was a little crazy. I sent out over 100 resumes 5 months before graduation. And so you can imagine how excited I was when I finally decided I was going to take a job working on a talk show at CNBC. I was so excited, which is freakish. I graduated on a Friday and started my job on a Monday. Sadly, on the 3rd week in, we were canceled. Nobody told me to ask about the ratings. If any of you are going to take an entertainment job on a TV show, please ask about the ratings. Dejected and sad, I decided I'd go home to freezing cold Philadelphia. What's a girl to do but have mom and dad help out? Except it was a challenge. I had to reach out to over 200 people to get a gig on the air in my hometown, which was TV market number 4. But I got the gig, and guess what? It paid horrible. And the first assignment they sent me out on was into a blizzard. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you about Shine. In order to run down your dream and shine wherever you are, the conditions might not always be right. But when you're running down your dream, it can be amazing. Speaking of amazing, I went on to make moves. I actually got hired to be a weekend anchor in, of all places, Beckley, West Virginia, but I was thrilled. And then I was actually extremely excited when I got a morning anchor job for ABC News, and wait for it, freezing cold Burlington, Vermont. This is how I started every day for 30 days. Good morning, I'm Meredith Allen, and here are your headlines. It's 17 below, because it was 17 below every day for my first 30 days. But I didn't care. I felt like I was winning in life until I got my first huge kick in the pants. The entire news division was canceled. And get this, to make matters worse, we were replaced with The Simpsons. Funny now, not so funny then. I cried my entire way home when my dad came to get me with our moving truck, all the way from Burlington, Vermont, back to freezing cold Philadelphia. But this time, I had a little bit of experience under my belt. So I landed an amazing gig on CNN Headline News, anchoring the news every 30 minutes with a local cut-in. And somebody was looking out for me. And I got selected to host my own TV talk show in my hometown. Now I thought I really made it. But as all crazy girls do, I fell in love. And my man lived in South Carolina. So I figured I could at least get a little bit further away from the cold and head south. I went south, and I decided, it was really, really stretchy, that I was going to host my own show called The Meredith Show. That's the television I host to this day. And all I do is showcase inspiring stories of people overcoming adversity. I got NBC to pick it up on the highest rated NBC affiliate in the nation. But as it turned out, that relationship didn't work out. And I wasn't being true to myself, if I was being honest, because I hadn't made it to California yet. That was my dream, getting out of the cold and getting to California. So, like any crazy woman after a dream and her shine, I packed up my most prized possession, my rescue dog, Biscuit. And we drove all the way across the country, just the two of us. And then, when we got west, we stopped in Las Vegas, because that's where my mom and dad had retired. And sadly, my dad wasn't doing very well. So unexpectedly, I wound up staying there for 2 years, until, once again, I got to speak my dream. My best friends and I were going around the room, and we were talking about our big, hairy, scary goals, and I said what I always said. I've always wanted to live in California, but I can't seem to get there. My friend Cynthia said, that's easy. I just bought an investment property and renovated it. It's ready right now. We all decided that I got to go. So I went home to tell my mom and dad. They were not excited. They thought I was insane. My mother actually said, let me get this straight. You want to leave everybody you know and love to go to a city where you literally have one friend. And do you know about the fires, the traffic, and insane home prices in California? All of which are completely true. And I said yes, but I was dejected. I couldn't leave everybody I knew and loved. I went to bed so sad. And then, when I woke up in the morning, it was like a lightning bolt hit me. It didn't matter what my mother and father said. This was my life and my dream. I was going to California. I was on my way. And when I got there, the most unbelievable thing happened. I got my first enormous paid speaking gig. They flew me first class with a limo waiting for me to go speak to a sold-out, standing room only national leadership conference. I totally felt I was living my dream. My mama was in the front row, cheering me on. What a full circle moment. And that was when I got a horrific kick in the pants. My mom called me a few weeks later and said, your dad has been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal pancreatic cancer. I dropped everything. I practically moved back in with mom and dad once again. And then my dad's final birthday came up. And everybody was getting him amazing physical gifts, but I knew he wasn't going to be able to take them with him where he was going. So instead, I shared his shine with him. I wrote a book. I wrote him every lesson that he ever told me, all my favorite memories about my dad, and I wrote down every funny thing that I remembered we did together, because my dad was hilarious. Actually, I think if I even have 1/10 of his funny, I'm grateful. Sadly, my dad died 91 days after diagnosis. Have you ever been so devastated that you can't even think straight? That was me. And I kept racking my brain. I don't know what to do with my life now. Like, how do you be an inspirational speaker when you're so sad? And then it hit me. I hadn't given back to my high school yet. So I decided to fly a little over 3,000 miles, put myself up in a hotel in the dead of winter, and the day came when I decided I was going to give a speech. I wrote it called "You Can Overcome Anything," and I really hoped that was true because I was still so heartbroken. The day came, and of course, it was like a blizzard. I can't believe they didn't close school. And the best part is my school grew so big, we had to do 2 assemblies. And looking out into the audience, my old eyes couldn't even see the top of the stadium seating. And at the end, the kids lined up. I'm like, totally confused. What are they lining up for? They wanted to take selfies with me for social media. But the most touching thing happened. Time and time again, they kept telling me how grateful they were for me reminding them that their dreams were not only possible, but important. It was literally the most rewarding experience of my life. Nobody understood why it was so important for me to do it. But I was so grateful I followed my heart. And speaking of my heart, there was another great thing waiting for me in California, and it was love. Love brought me to this man. I met my husband in California. He was waiting for me, and that's our fur baby. That's Biscuit. Biscuit walked me down the aisle on that special day. I felt like I hit the jackpot. My husband came with a son, and now I have a stepson. Double win. I had always wanted a son and a husband. But you can imagine when the next kick in the pants came, I came undone. You see, I didn't realize it, but my longest running relationship in life, my biggest love, was Biscuit. We had been together through thick and thin, and it became very evident she was falling ill. We rushed her to see the veterinarian, and he said the thing that no dog owner wants to hear: we have to put her down. I literally think that when I felt her take her last breaths, I was holding her paws, I literally think my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. I literally could not imagine my life without her. We were inseparable. And then I started remembering. Do you know my sweet rescue pup, Biscuit, woke up every day at 6 a.m. excited, woke me up too, to feed her the same food. No matter what, she was always so excited, whether I left the house for 5 minutes or 5 hours. When I opened the door, it was like a celebration. I couldn't believe it. She was always jumping up and down, shrieking with delight, doing circles, and sometimes I even got kisses. I started to think Biscuit had shine on lockdown. The thing about it is, I wasn't feeling so shiny. And then I thought about it. For all of us, running down a dream, following our shine, our gifts, is a choice. So I'm going to ask, to honor sweet Biscuit, for every single one of you to please stand up. I'd like every single one of you to stand up right now And I am going to help you, for the love of biscuit, feel your shine, because you were born to shine. And I'm going to say a few things, and then you'll repeat after me and raise your hands. Here's the deal. In life, you may have a disability. You, like me, may have a huge challenge. For me, I stuttered. It was awful. And I didn't think I had a career ahead of me, certainly not in broadcasting. But somebody takes a chance on you. Somebody says, please audition. And you're shaking with fear, but you do it anyway. Repeat after me. Shine is saying yes when fear is telling you no. Shine is saying yes when fear is telling you no. Because trust me, the fear never goes away. You'll be afraid your entire life, especially if you're running down a dream. And a lot of people will doubt you. You'll doubt yourself. You'll come up with excuses. Trust me, I know. It comes up over and over again. But the truth is, at the end of the day, you've got to follow your heart. You might have to drive cross country all alone with your fur baby. You might have to do exactly what your mom and dad think you shouldn't, and that's move to California. That was my story. Repeat after me. Shine is following your heart. Shine is following your heart. That's right. Not your head, not logic. That doesn't always pan out for you. You got to get a little crazy. And in the end, turn to somebody next to you right now and say, you were born to shine. Yes, you were. And not if, but when life kicks you in the pants, I want you to remember, you, my friends, are a light. And you are courageous and stronger than you know, and you were born to shine bright. And whatever you do, please don't delay your gifts, your goals, and your dreams. Don't waste a minute and shine right now. Thank you.